my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you joined. Today, I'm going to be talking about the benefits of staying on Disney property and off Disney property, and hopefully it will help you decide which is best for your family and your specific trip that you are planning. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm first going to start with talking about the benefits of staying on property, just because there are more benefits to staying on site. Disney has designed it that way. They have made it very enticing for their guests to where you want to stay on property. So the first thing I'm going to mention, and probably the most appealing point that people make when deciding whether or not they're going to stay on or off site, is transportation. You get the Magical Express from the Orlando airport, and it is complimentary. You don't have to worry about getting a rental car, and you're not paying for parking when you are going to the parks. And even at your resort, now that they've added parking fees, it's just another reason that people love the Disney transportation. The boats, the monorails, the buses, I mean, there's just so many options, and it all is complimentary with your Disney resort stay. So another thing in addition to the Magical Express with transportation is those other extra avenues of transportation. You don't have to worry about getting an Uber or, again, getting a rental car, because you have at least a bus is guaranteed no matter what resort you're at, to and from the parks and Disney Springs. And that is a huge appeal for people. So transportation is probably one of the top reasons that people love to stay on property. Okay, the next benefit of staying on Disney property is the 60-day Fast Pass window. When you are staying at a Disney resort, you get that extra 30 days from everybody else to go ahead and reserve your Fast Pass selections. And it makes a huge difference. If anyone thinks, oh, that doesn't matter, that's, you know, what's an extra 30 days, no matter where we stay, you know, whatever, I promise you, those extra 30 days are worth it. It really does make the difference. And when you are narrowed down to just a 30-day window when you're staying off property, or even if you live in the Orlando area and you're just not going to stay overnight, only having that 30-day window, it makes a difference. There's less availability for rides, and that's just how it is now. Just with FastPass becoming more popular, the My Disney Experience app is more popular now. It just makes a difference. So the FastPass window, having that extra 30 days and it being that 60-day window, is a huge perk to staying on property. Another perk of staying on property is extra magic hours. You get that extra hour before the park opens in the morning, or it could be 2 or 3 hours in the evening. And if you are somebody who you do an annual vacation, or maybe it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip, or you go every 2 or 3 years, just if you're not getting to go that often, you are wanting to maximize your time in the parks. And having those extra hours is huge, and it gives you more opportunities to ride things with the possibility of having it be less of a wait. So that's a huge perk to staying on property. Okay, the next perk to staying on property is having access to the dining plan. Now, the dining plan is not for everybody. I've done several videos about the dining plan, so I will link those below, but some people swear by it. And, you can't go on a Disney vacation without the dining plan for some people. And, but if you're staying off property, that's not an option. And so with Disney, they provide this more of an all-inclusive feel. So if you enjoy having your vacation feel prepaid, all-inclusive, then that's a huge benefit to the dining plan. And, again, it's not for everybody. There's ways to do it and make it feel all-inclusive without using the dining plan. But yet again, just another reason that people love staying on property. Okay, and the last benefit I have to staying on property is being in the Disney bubble. And this one I feel like could just be a whole category in and of itself, because these resorts are so well themed and you just feel like you have stepped into another world. And it feels like time stops when you are at Disney World, when you're in this bubble. And staying at some of these resorts like Art of Animation, the Polynesian, Animal Kingdom Lodge, I mean, just the theming of some of these resorts is phenomenal. And you just don't get that when you're staying off property. So maybe you're traveling with small kids, or you just love being surrounded and totally immersed in Disney while you're there. Then another huge benefit to staying on property, because you don't even have to leave that Disney bubble because everything is at your fingertips. Okay, so now let's look at some benefits to staying off property, because there are several, and I feel like off property and off-site resorts get overlooked a lot of the times because they're viewed, if you're a Disney veteran or just someone you just love Disney, off-site resorts can sometimes feel like that's not as good. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Just that lesser than kind of feel. But I just feel like there really are benefits to staying off property if you can kind of get past, missing out on all of those perks that Disney provides, like the dining plan, extra magic hours, Magical Express, 60-day fast pass window. If you're okay giving those things up, then there really are benefits to staying off site. And one of those being is that it is just more affordable. And it's just a fact of the matter is that off-site resorts and hotels are lesser expensive. And you are able to still experience Disney, maybe not to the fullness of staying at a Disney resort, but you're still able to experience a Disney vacation without paying the Disney price tag of a resort. And that's probably one of the most appealing factors to staying off site. And there are so many amazing resorts in the Disney Springs area that you can get a great deal on. So many great hotels. I've even looked into Airbnb and VRBO. People rent out rooms in their house. I mean, there's just so many creative ways to stay off property. So tagging off of that point, in addition to it being more affordable, you can get great last minute deals. And that's another thing about Disney resorts is they book up months in advance. And if you are someone where you plan your vacations just a few weeks out or even a couple months out, it's going to be hard to get the resort you're wanting. You may be really limited, or it may be fully booked depending on what time of year you're wanting to go. And that's a great perk to staying off site, is because there's usually always something available, and there's great last minute deals. You could go through Priceline and, Trivago and all these different websites, that you can find amazing deals for off-site resorts and hotels. And that's a huge benefit for people who travel last minute. Another benefit of staying off-site is that some hotels off-site offer free continental breakfast. And if you, again, are on a budget, that's a huge perk to staying at an off-site resort. Disney is not gonna include, unless you're staying club level, which is crazy expensive. You're technically just paying for the food at that point, but nothing's really included food-wise with your Disney resort. But if you are staying at a more affordable hotel room off-site, a lot of those hotels offer free breakfast. So that's a huge perk, especially if you're traveling with a large group of people, or you're a family and you have a bunch of kids. Adding up those quick service receipts can get really pricey really fast. If you're there for a full week, breakfast every morning for 4 or 5 people, that can be a huge amount of savings if you specifically look for a hotel or resort that includes breakfast with your stay. So that's another thing to think about. And the last benefit to staying off property is, it's kind of, some of you are gonna laugh because I used this as a benefit of staying on property as well. So it just totally depends who you are, but it is the fact that it is outside of the Disney bubble. So some people love being able to leave the park and get to take a break from Disney for the night and then come back the next day. Some people they really enjoy being able to leave the property and feel like they're still in the real world. So that can be a benefit depending on who you are. Personally, I would never leave the Disney bubble. I would go for months on end and be totally content, never ever leaving. But for some people, that's a huge factor, is they want to, eat outside of Disney, and they want to be able to, have their own car and have the freedom to kind of go wherever they want when they want, and not feel trapped in this, whole world of Disney. So it can be a benefit looking at it on both ends depending on who you are. Okay, so that is it for all of the benefits to staying on Disney property and off Disney property. I'm sure I missed several, so let me know in the comments below if you have anything to add. That would be great. I hope this was helpful if you are someone trying to decide where to stay. Is on-site best for your vacation, or is off-site best for your vacation? There's pros to both. It just totally depends on what your priority is. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.